I hope what I'm going to say is going to be well received, but I have a feeling it might not be. There was another comment from a previous video that I wanted to respond to, but this is all pretty much under the same umbrella regarding my experience at a PWI, what my parents did when they started noticing some really disturbing behaviors from me regarding the way that I looked at other Black people, and all of the trauma that came after them attempting to integrate me into other Black spaces. I mentioned that I joined this organization called TTA, and I think my parents thought, in the same way I thought, that this was going to be the solution to a lot of my problems. I probably should have prefaced this with the fact that there were problems with the fact that I went to a predominantly white high school, or predominantly white schools up until that point in general. I started feeling really uncomfortable around other Black people that didn't grow up in the same socioeconomic space that I had grown up in. I started having some of the same assumptions that some of my white peers had about other Black people who, again, did not grow up in the same situation that I did. Growing up, my assumption was that all Black people grew up in the same way that I grew up, in the same way that some of my extended family grew up. And when I quickly realized that that wasn't the case, I had a hard time adjusting. Again, my parents were concerned and quickly put me into an organization where I could be around other people that look like me. Their hope was that I was going to be accepted, and that's not exactly what happened at all. I remember the very first meeting that I went to, there was a whole lot of drama. One, because I was the new girl, I got a lot of attention when it came to the guys, but the girls did not welcome me at all. I remember after the very first meeting getting a call from my best friend, and you can hear this girl in the background who was yelling and screaming, talking about beating my ass because I looked at her funny or because I thought I was cute. My parents told me to chalk it up to jealousy and that I had no choice. I was going to continue to participate in these meetings and these events. Fast forward, I make friends with some people within the organization, mainly the guys, because they were always nice to me. There was never really any beef. But there was a picnic that I went to for the church, and this organization was also run through the church. This is important. My friend had invited me to this picnic because a lot of the people from, TTA were going to be there. And I remember sitting on the side of a basketball court watching this guy that I had a crush on at the time play basketball. And everybody got called in for food, and we're walking towards, the pavilion where everybody was eating. And there are a bunch of people in this car. My friend tells me that it's the pastor's car, and we're looking at it because there's a bunch of kids just piled up in this car, hands through all the windows, heads through the sunroof. It just looks crazy. I look over, I decide to mind my business, and we keep it moving. On the way back from getting our plates, this short girl pops out from in front of the car that we were looking at before, and she starts hollering at me, "You're popped, you're busted, you're blah, blah, blah." All words that I had never heard before. I clearly looked confused, and she said, "Are you stupid? Do you not understand what I'm saying?" To which I responded, "Girl, I must be, because I don't know what you're talking about." There's gonna have to be a part 2.